Hey, it's a little blue. We got fluorescent lighting conditions. I watched Breaking Bad again. Oh Lord, the symbolism. It is everywhere. How have I never noticed it before? I'm telling you people, it's like a whole nother language. And it's everywhere. It's amazing. This video is to announce I'm still going to do public videos, but there's not going to be as many frequently because I want to concentrate on doing what I've wanted to do since the beginning. Is on an average view I get maybe 200 views. So there's like 200 people who are consistently watching my videos, right? And I want to do videos where there's a little less censorship and there's a little less exposure, because a lot of what I say actually challenges the matrix, okay? And so I've set up Patreon and I've already got a few videos up there ready to rock and roll, and I've put 2 tiers for, you can check it out, it's $5 to get started, and I'm probably going to be uploading the bulk of my videos on that platform for a smaller audience. You know, I get 1 or 2 donations with PayPal a month, so I figure, you know, for the price of a cup of coffee, right, that that people may want to have, you know, people may be willing to go for it. But I don't feel like my channel's never going to be a huge channel, because the stuff I talk about isn't for the masses. It's not even for the masses of the awake. And I don't want to grow my channel. I want to have a very small group of people who like the content and, you know, will, you know, be willing to part with what, $5 a month or whatever it is to, you know, have access to the content. So I've been doing 2 videos now. This is something I've been thinking about for a few months. And also by doing videos this way, I'm not getting as much exposure and not having a bunch of people who, yeah, I don't even know. My channel's never going to explode or get big. I don't expect it to, because it's not what I'm here to do. It sucks. I'm here to do what I'm doing. And anyway, so I'm going to put the link in the description. And I will still do public videos. Mainly the arch negative videos are going to be the public ones, because those don't really challenge anything. Whereas the videos that I'm going to be, you know, for a smaller audience, are going to be talking about stuff that's a little more racy and may challenge the paradigms a little bit. And I'd rather not even have a lot of people having exposure to that anyway, because I theorize that I'll get less aggro. I'll get less aggro doing that. I mean, so many channels you go to them, and they kind of like talk down to you. You know, don't forget to subscribe, give us a thumbs up. And shouldn't it be like you give us a thumbs up if the video's good? And you subscribe if the content is good? Why do they always have to tell? I mean, is that how easily programmed we are? Yeah, it is. Is that, I mean, it just bothers me, man. I mean, I was watching this video. I checked out this show, Better Call Saul, right? See that? Mug of coffee. JMC. My initials. I almost had a I can't say it. A McDonaldson last name, but it didn't work out that way. You know, Campbell's cool. But there's this video, right? So I'm watching Better Call Saul. And spoiler alert, his brother Chuck is narcissistic personality disorder. And that kind of stuff is happening rampantly in this time, man. Rampantly. And it's spiritual. It's also related to borderline personality disorder. I know awake people who have borderline personality traits, and I've had times myself, I thought I was a narcissist, and I thought I was a narcissist, right? And because I have narcissistic personality traits. But narcissism is a pathological disorder, okay? It's pathological. And a lot of people, like, I know a couple women who I think might have borderline personality disorder traits. And, you know, I keep, you know, I do what I can, but I don't believe they have, because both of them have really good, they're good people, you know, but they have empathy, it would appear, but they also have a lot of, at times, demonic oppression. So I'm watching this show, and I'm just, like, getting angry. The guy who plays Chuck is, I think, Martin McKean, right? What's his name? I'll look it up. Chuck, Breaking Bad. Yeah, he's, what's his name, though? But, dude, he has this, like, EMF allergy to electronics, right? Hold on. Okay, he's played by Michael McKean. And Michael McKean, I really like the actor Michael McKean. You know, he's Michael Mug of Coffee Keen. And he was Mr. Green in Clue, which was like one of my favorite movies. You know, I had to stop her screaming. And let's do this instead. I want to do... I like the original version of that, though. This is from 1976. Okay. Yeah. This is, you know... Anyway, Michael McKean plays Chuck, okay, on Better Call Saul. And he has this, like... He completely, to me, has... I've been around people like this, and they control the people in their lives through their narcissism. And Chuck does it through his EMF allergy, right? He can't be around electronics and all this kind of stuff. And he... I'm watching it, and I watch up to the end of season 3, and I am so... The guy did such an amazing job acting. It was unlike Skyler, who I don't believe is that good of an actor in general, actress. And a gun. And see, that's something I can't really talk about. That's, again, why I'm starting to do the whole Patreon thing. I think if only a couple hundred people are being exposed to stuff that might challenge the system of the paradigm, that's good. You know, you can be all full of bravado until, you know, you get the knock on your door. And, you know, hint, hint. Okay, so, Chuck Mcgill, though, and again, come on. Chuck Mcgill is Better Call Saul's other brother, and he is a despicable character, in my opinion, right? And I'm not doing spoilers here. I'm very careful with that kind of thing, right? So I'm watching it, and I can't stand the character. And so anyway, so I see this video. It says, Better Call Saul, the Fall of Chuck Mcgill. And this whole video, it's like a 16-minute video, The Fall of Chuck Mcgill. I might even put the title similarly to get some splash over traffic, but they're blaming everything on the younger brother Jimmy Mcgill. And the whole thing is Jimmy has empathy. Jimmy doesn't have a personality disorder like borderline or narcissistic. And it got 4,000 thumbs up, 184 thumbs down, including me. And I don't often thumbs down videos, but the video was completely it is such a microcosm of the current world we live in, where look, 90+% of the people are going to be synced up to this, to the hive mind, to whatever it is. And if you're like me, you're not part of that 90%. And you're going to be kind of a contrast to that. Hold on. Okay, you're going to be feeling like you're taking crazy pills, right? Like where you don't have solidarity with most people. You're going to find, if you do your Myers-Briggs, your Arch-negative blood type, all these things are going to affect ultimately how well you fit into this world. And if you're an Arch-negative, you're 10% or whatever, 15% right off the bat. And then if you're an INFJ like me, the counselors of the Myers-Briggs, people come to us because we innately possess the ability to kind of help them. And it's burdensome, right? But everyone loved this video, and I was watching it, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Because I thought Better Call Saul, the fall of Chuck Mcgill, and it was going to talk about how crazy Chuck was and how he had this disorder, but whenever he, like, there's one scene where his brother is helping some old people, elderly people, you know, and I get along with elderly people pretty good too, so I kind of identify with that part of Jimmy McGill. I think his name's Jimmy M. McGill. I can't remember his middle name, but it's J-M-M. And his brother's like, well, you need to take it to the firm. You don't have the manpower. So he convinces his brother to bring it to this firm. And Jimmy, thinking in doing so that he'll be working cooperatively with these people in the firm and his older brother, Chuck. But in the middle of the night, Chuck, who has this electronic thing where he can't be on electricity, he goes out and he's wearing like a space blanket. It's so ridiculous, and it's mental illness. It's spiritual. It's demonic, in my opinion. And he goes out because he won't let phones in the house or anything. He goes out to the mailbox where Jimmy leaves his phone so it doesn't bother Chuck's electric sensitivity, right? And he, on the LD, a lowdown, he calls his partner, Howard Hamlin, and I'm not even talking about the triangles and the bullhorns everywhere in the TV show, and that kind of stuff isn't for the public, really. I've been seeing this for months, and it was a natural progression to, and a lot of people might not understand this, and trust me, I want to help the little man or something like that, and the little people, and those of you that are in poverty and poor and still enjoy the videos, so I will still do videos, but when I want to flow in spirit of truth and talk, I can't really do it as much on this platform. I think you've probably noticed it, those of you who have been following me for the last couple of years, the change from the beginning to now, and how often I have to calm myself, correct myself, stop myself, you know, because I'm not gonna be a thorn in the side of the prince of this world. And any of you who think you would and go online and you would do that, and if you knew something that completely changed the dynamic and opposed the popular narrative, and you think doing that would not have a consequence, well, you're crazy, because it does. I didn't know it, though, but now I do. Is that more for a public video? Let's get back on track. So Jimmy McGill. So what happens was I watched this video, The Downfall of Chuck McGill, and it's a ridiculous video, as this person pointed out, our correct opinions, okay? Like, and Corhydron 111. And it was just, he's talking about this video, because I watched the video. This might be a little inside, but I hope it makes sense to you people. So, this whole video, it's a microcosm of the current world we live in. 154,000 views. Most of the comments agree with the people's premise of blaming Jimmy, but Jimmy isn't the problem. Chuck was the problem. Okay, Chuck is a handbook example of a person with narcissistic personality disorder. Symptoms range from DSM, but for my own practice, it's like being a sociopath, cunning, and unempathetic, vindictive, with the emotionality of a person with borderline personality disorder, extremely sensitive, with unstable self-image. I know a person who has those traits, but they're not borderline, I don't believe. If they were, I wouldn't even talk to them. Actually, I know a few people like that. It seems to happen in women more than men. I don't know why. Okay. And someone put kind of like Tony Soprano's mother, yeah. And Our Correct Opinions made an excellent post that I commented on. It said, classic malignant narcissist. Couldn't agree more. So I find this ludicrous video to be logically upside down by making inferences of Jimmy's culpability to Chuck's demise, when they are really referencing a series of connections between Jimmy and Chuck and how his relationship with his brother leads to his downfall. Big difference between that and making a causal link with blame and choosing Jimmy, the non-personality disordered brother, over the textbook narcissist, who also treats others the same way. For example, when Howard Hamlin says he's been betrayed by Chuck, and Chuck says something like, "It could be argued that you betrayed me." Or when he lashes out at Rebecca over a psychosomatic illness again. Cool. With her phone call. And then his psychopathology is to blame her for being rude over apologizing profusely, if not wanting to tell the truth of his illness. Or Ernie, the list goes on. This is very important. This is what I noticed. It's also worth noting that Chuck is able to power through the electricity allergy when he's bringing someone down or out to destroy or manipulate a situation. Oh, man, we have these people in this world, and it's spiritual, in my opinion. That's why it's happening so much. I mean, Matthew 24, inequity and wickedness will abound, and because that, the love of many will wax cold. Okay? And then this other person, like, Jimmy has a personality disorder, sociopathy. No, he doesn't. He doesn't have he's not a sociopath. And almost everybody is in 90% of the people, like 4,400 thumbs up, 100 thumbs down, okay? And it's wrong. It's wrong, dude. It's objectively wrong. I was so shocked. I wanted to watch this video because I thought it was going to just hate on Chuck because, you know, Bible says don't hate, don't judge, yada, yada, yada. But Chuck, what the actor did, Michael McKean, did such an amazing job portraying this personality disorder. And you wanted to see the guy go down. If you've interacted with people that are narcissists growing up, a lot of arch negatives had at least one in the family, brother, sister, mother. And so I agreed with Our Correct Opinions, okay? Yo. And then he commented further. I wanted to explain this too, okay? Jimmy's just a rascal, a little morally corrupt. He does cons and stuff, but he's not amoral or immoral, and a rascal with some insecurities about himself who's emotional by default. However, Saul begins to manifest environmentally based behaviors that mimic sociopathy as he enters the end of series 4, which was truly seeded when Chuck murdered Jimmy's soul by telling him he never cared for him. His brother told him this. The whole time, Jimmy is enabling Chuck's crazy electricity allergy, bringing him ice and gas for the lanterns and food every day, taking care of his older brother who he always looked up to. And this whole video is blaming everything on the brother who's enabling the brother who actually has a personality disorder. And to me, it was just like, this is most of what the internet is, and most of YouTube. It's back ass words like everything else in this world. You know what I mean? And this is interesting too, because I've talked to a therapist about this myself. I have PTSD. Many of you have PTSD through the massive changes in recent years, right? And the ongoing process. For me, it's more physical. Like, I can't really even walk in the woods right now. I can't really walk much. And my health, I'm having a lot of central nervous system issues, and I'm getting more and more tests done to try to figure out maybe something pretty, you know, but that's why I've not been doing as many videos. If people remember, I used to do like 3 videos a week at least and walk in the woods for a couple hours. Now I don't really want to walk in the woods anymore because of the whole tick thing. Unless it's below 30 degrees. Below 30 degrees, ticks don't come out as much, but it's too much of an occupational hazard, I guess you could say. Really, I'd rather just work and not do videos anymore. But we only have so much control in this time. You got to kind of go with the flow and do what God wants you to do, even if you don't want to do it. I was reading about Jonah, you know, and how he didn't want to do what God wanted him to do, and he just, like, left the city. And then he ended up in the whale's belly. The belly of the whale is also one of the stages from the hero's journey, the Joseph Campbell monomyth, okay? But I wanted to explain this. A lot of you have had trauma, as who hasn't, okay? But serious trauma when you were children or through your formative years. I met Oneg locally, and the stuff she told me about her mother in a very brief time we were talking and working together. She had this whole thing with the Bible and the Pope, and she's not a big fan of them. This O negative actually has a golden lasso, and when she left it on the couch and I sat on it and I started telling the truth. I didn't even know. I was telling her things I never told anyone, and it's her Wonder Woman lasso. You know what I mean? She's Oneg Amazon reference, obviously. Okay, so, but when the brain changes, this person wrote, because this person really knows their stuff. They were one of the few people who said the video's ridiculous, it's upside down, okay? I may be talking too fast, and I had some dental stuff done, so my S's are coming out a little, okay? But let me get it under, reel it in, okay? When the brain changes from untreated PTSD over time, and once treatable changes become permanently reorganized into the pathological, then someone is a candidate for personality disorder, ASPD, consistent, irreversible lack of empathy, no remorse, etc. So what that means is, because I kept telling my therapist, because you always got to be self-aware and make sure people aren't enabling you. And I was telling her, look, I think I'm a narcissist. I think I might be borderline because I've studied these things and I have some of the traits I keep to myself. You know what I mean? And I do have empathy most of the time, but sometimes you get cynical and you're burnt out on people. And I have different women I've talked to who you just won't hear from them. And it happens in family too, where you think there'd be open lines of communication, but and these women have PTSD who I'm referencing here. Hold on. So these women do have PTSD, and I was talking to my therapist, and she was telling me, it's because you may be, Joseph, you may be expressing traits of borderline or narcissistic personality disorder right now, but clinically I do not believe you have those personality disorders, right? But what you're expressing is because losing everything, the lesions all over the skin, everyone's super far away, no family close, getting hit by 2 different cars, then getting extremely ill, having had Lyme disease a few times. All that stuff is trauma, and it's happened in a compressed time period. So for me, it's more been physical. For a lot of you, it might be rejection. You feel like you're not accepted by people, you can't relate to people, so you're alone in a room full of people. You know what I mean? And I know that feeling. I'd rather be alone in an empty room than in a room full of people, because you can really learn to love yourself and be your best friend. Don't forget about the turtle in Neverending Story. Remember? We start talking to ourselves. Remember that whole thing? I mean, there is something to it. Think about it. When you're being mindful, which you should be doing, and you're monitoring your thoughts, you are monitoring you. There's 2 things going on there. You're thinking a thought consciousness stream. I'm expressing mine now with words. But if I wasn't, I'd be thinking and observing this. How is that possible? Isn't it like a paired instance? Oh man, I had a sister send me this, a young, beautiful spirit soul. O negative too. I don't play favorites. I get along good with the A's and the O's the most though, but you know. Anyway, back on track. So what I wanted to say, I hope this clarifies some things. BCS, psych report over. I've been reading this kind of verbatim from this person's comment. What was shocking to me, and I guess it shouldn't be shocking, is anywhere you turn in this world, it's not just truth stuff, it's not just Mandela stuff, which I don't focus on, but there is legitimacy to it, and it's denied by most, right? But it might be denied just because they aren't experiencing it, right? Or they didn't have a good memory. I don't freaking know. I think it's more like, it's the Lion and the Lamb from Fifth Heaven. I mean, if that guy is saying, he was saying actually the wolf and the lamb, to me it means he's not being deceptive. You know, he remembers the wolf and the lamb. And we're like, that doesn't make any sense. But really, how much sense does the lion and the lamb make? Obviously, the lion of Judah is Jesus, and the lamb is the believer, right? So symbolically, metaphorically, it makes sense. But from a person without any context, a wolf and a lamb and a lion and a lamb is just as ridiculous, right? Okay, I remember the lion and the lamb anyway. But I wanted you to know this, that some of you, most of you that I've interacted with in our relationships have PTSD and demonic attachments. We all do. Not any one of you doesn't. Let that sink in for a minute. So when you're thinking, not all our thoughts are our own for entertainment purposes only. And if you identify with your demonic attachment telling you this person's going to betray you, that person's out to get you, or if you have a rejection spirit. And dude, I have this, like, I don't even like reading, I don't like answering, part of it's PTSD, I don't like the phone, I don't like emails. I've really kind of closed myself off, and I've been talking about it in therapy and group, and I'm like, look, I'm really struggling with this. I don't feel the world is really that safe of a place anymore, and I kind of just want to, I try to psychoanalyze and think my way through it, you know what I mean? And no matter how self-aware you are, if the body and the mind, the soul, the spirit, the brain has trauma, and you have to process it, it can interfere with your functionality, your happiness, right? Excuse me. I want to talk about, some other stuff here. I just want people to realize that I'm gonna play this for an hour as we end the video. This is oh, it's not, it's Enigma. I thought it was the other, you know how there's Enigma, there's two different bands who kind of sound the same. Enya and Enigma, and they're both E's. Not that that means anything. This is off-topic music for the subject matter. I'm gonna put it low in the mix though. Anyway, so this world is back-ass words, and I wanted to watch this, The Fall of Chuck Mcgill, and I wasn't expecting it to be the opposite of I mean, it's the opposite, and everybody's in lockstep with it, man. It's wrong. And only very few of the comments are like, no, Chuck was a narcissist. Most of the people are like, yeah, Jimmy's the problem. Jimmy. And no, it was Chuck, dude. And that's wrong. We have objectivity, don't we? We have personal biases. And I wanted to share it because it's actually a little synchronistic that a lot of you have had trauma and traumatized, or you were rejected and losers or whatever when you were younger. Who hasn't felt like a loser at times and you're not accepted, you know? Maybe you were really obese when you were a kid or something, or you were not fast, or you weren't cool, you know what I mean? But I don't think most of you were really what's called as popular. I wasn't popular. I had a lot of friends, but none of us really fit in. You know what I mean? And, but I have this, and many of you have it too. So most of you don't have the level of self-awareness. Part of it's being a Scorpio to think, am I a narcissist? Am I a borderline personality disorder? And if you are, which I felt I was, especially when I was younger, coming out of the trauma of childhood, I established a Joe zone layer. You know, a Joe zone layer to protect others from the harmful rays of the Joe. And I still kind of keep it up to this day. You have to be really, because it would be so bad to be borderline personality disorder if any of you were, which most of you aren't, almost none of you are, I don't think. I mean, if you were, I probably wouldn't talk to you or even address you, because I don't want to be anywhere near that kind of energy. It's powerful, bad demonic, in my opinion, and it manifests as a psychological disorder. But a lot of you do have trauma, and because of that trauma, you now have traits like lack of empathy at times or forgiveness of people. And this isn't about any specific person. One person keeps popping in my head. Actually, two people, a family member and another person. And it's not specifically about these individuals. But the whole point is a lot of you have had trauma, and you might have traits of being borderline or narcissistic if you look into it and you're self-aware. But that doesn't mean you are, okay? And even if you were, you can use CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, to kind of work through it. The most important thing, and I've talked about this in a lot of videos that are going to be up, is self-awareness and mindfulness, and looking at yourself as you are, without a bunch of biases and ego protecting you, which almost all of us do, including me by nature. So it's a Herculean task to get through, as Ezekiel said, to the bedrock of that, to dig down deep into the real you. And you're not going to like it at first. It's work, okay? To do that, to get to who you really are. Anyway, So I wanted to share that because, I mean, I keep my circle small right now. There's the spiritual stuff is happening like it's never been before. And I was watching Deadpool 2, man, and the music selection and the things he was doing. When I used to work at the golf course, I would talk in German, you know, Guten Tag, wie spät ist das? I know a little German. I love the language. It's much easier to learn than Spanish. And I would speak in German to the Spanish workers. And it was like a gag. Maybe they'll understand this. And then in Deadpool, he's speaking in Japanese. No, he's speaking in Spanish. Donde está biblioteca? Hola, Juan. Hola, Esteban. You know? And it's so close to home. And then all the music in it was like straight out of my head. Deadpool 2. It was very weird, man. And it was just something with TV, man. It's like a portal or something. They say a sign of schizophrenia is you feel like the TV's talking to you. But the whole schizophrenia thing, a lot of that is meant to discredit born shamans or people with the powerful in the spirit who have a connection to the spirit world, man. And they can discern things most people can't. But because most people can't discern it, most people say they're nuts or schizo, you know? But I don't have the TV that talks to me, you know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. But the weird synchronicities with the television, and it's just that it's weird. And one more thing I wanted to comment on. Okay, hold on. Okay, I want to comment on this. I got sent this link. It's called the OA Season 2, and it debuts on 3/22. And, yeah. And the name, no, don't focus. What it is, though, is to me, it's a straight up kind of Mandela thing. I'll put the preview for season 2 that was sent to me in email, okay? I'll share it with you. And it's called the OA, and that could be Alpha and Omega reversed, right? AO. And it's this, hold on. You know what, I don't think I don't know what the rules are. I mean, it's a trailer. I was going to share it with my amazing production. You know, my computer. I'm not able to do the screen thing, but I'm going to put the link in the description. It's like a 3-minute trailer, and it basically matches up with the whole Mandela, jumpers, a lot of that stuff, but it's full of code. And I'll talk more about that in videos that aren't public. I'm not going to, I mean, if you people remember from when I first started doing videos, I hadn't yet got hit by a second car. I was in amazing health. I wasn't getting any kind of weird threats. I was still working. It's been a tremendous change to where I am now, and I feel like the white blood cells of the matrix system we live in discourage people, just like they discouraged Jesus from telling the, and I'm not on that level, but that's what happens. The system doesn't want you. If your instincts are telling you, this kind of goes against the narrative, and you're like, well, I'm going to be rebellious and fight the good fight, and you can do that, but there is going to be cause and effect, and I feel like it should be a tour of duty in a spiritual war, where for 2 years I did it. And lately, honest to God, I don't even really want to do public videos anymore. That's why, I mean, I've been doing less videos, and I haven't been 100%, and I've just been having the rest. I have PTSD, and so does everyone else, and other injuries, and I'm having trouble getting to a point where I could do things I took for granted, like working out and working and stuff, and so I'm not 100%. It's like in a battle or a spiritual war, if your soldiers, when they get battle fatigue or injuries, they don't continue fighting on the front lines. And believe it or not, that's what a very small minority of people are doing. Does that make sense? It's all theater, right? I'm just being theatric here. But I don't know if I'd even be still doing these if circumstances beyond my control didn't cause another. Because I really love doing videos, man, but the pushback is so intense. And the negativity and the weird psychological stuff, like, people have no idea. And I'll say that, and you'll just kind of, it'll go in one ear out the other. But I don't know. I don't even want to talk about it, man. But, so anyway, that's why I'm going to be, I'd rather just do videos for a much smaller audience, even if it was only a few dozen people. I don't want to get big. I don't want to have a bunch of subscribers. I don't tell people when they come on video, hey, I'm going to put this post-hypnotic suggestion on you. Hey, thumbs up, subscribe, you know, share, you know, let me make you do work as soon as you flip onto my video, because you can't for yourself decide whether or not you should thumbs up the video. So I'm going to tell you to do it and subscribe. Ring that bell, you know, and no, that's not how we're doing it here. And those of you who are like me, I think you should have a moral obligation to align yourself with me and to, you know, to help in any way you can, right? I mean, so many of you I've met and I've gotten help from in the last couple of years, and I do not take it for granted, okay? This song goes out to all the people who, creators, I guess can't, no, I can't sing. I don't know if it'll get, you know, so I'm not going to do that. I'll do this for, no, I can't do the Jazzy Jeff. Anyway, I think I'm going to end this now. Check out the OA, though. The preview I got sent. If you're experiencing this Mandela and all this stuff, I'd really tell people, I don't even want to say that, though. Darn it. I would tell people to drink milk, you know, read your prayers, and be a real American. That's what we'll go out on. Okay. It's a little corny, but I really like the song. It does have a good message. Okay. It's Hulkamania, dude. Hulkamania, brother. Okay. Never forget when everything changed, you know, back in the Disney 9/11. Never forget. Okay, check out the OA preview for season 2 if you're experiencing all this Mandela stuff. And I wouldn't get too deep into the rabbit hole because it doesn't, I don't know. It's up to you, man. I love this song, actually. Guilty pleasure. I love wrestling entrance musics, you know? Hulkamania, dude. Hulkamania, brother. Okay, so that's it. I'll put the link for Patreon, and there'll be more content from now on that platform, and I'll still do videos publicly. Check out the OA. Practice mindfulness, self-awareness through time alone, and just hang in there, all of you who get this, who are one of the 10%, not just in blood, but that you don't go to the Chuck Mcgill video and you agree, because it's madness. It is wrong. It's upside down. In the end times, stuff is backwards, dude, and we witness it. Because when the reckoning and judgment comes, which includes you, by the way, when that happens, it's not going to pull any punches. It's not going to protect you like your ego. I think even if it was like the Buddhist thing where it's like you experience everything you made other people feel, which is different than the Christian thing, that would be very hard for many of you who have demonic oppression. All of us have these attachments, all of us, because the big 7 sins. And I feel like I just want to keep talking. I'm going to wrap this up though. I don't want the videos to go too long. But let's remove the stigma with this kind of thing, okay? So you got to forgive people, forgive yourself. Envy, greed, lust, gluttony, all those things are, if they're not in moderation, will have demonic oppression. Don't be ashamed of it. Just be what you are, you know? Just another squirrel trying to get a nut. And don't... Let's go on this, because this is what it's all about, the J word. Okay, so yeah, just let's remove the stigma, though. I don't like to sugarcoat it, and I don't like to tell people what they want to hear, and most people do that in this world, and we do it to ourselves, and unfortunately, we got to be honest with ourselves, man. We're going through this awakening, ascension, growth process, and it's not good to do what Jimmy Mcgill was doing to Chuck and enabling his illness. You have to kind of, you got to handle it, man, or there's not going to be any change, and you're going to wither, you're going to atrophy spiritually. Okay, I'm feeling a little inspired today because I think there's less pressure for a smaller audience, but this one will be public, this video, just to kind of announce that. But I'm still going to do public videos, and there's some March Negative videos I have in mind that are going to be public also. I'm not going to abandon the core subscribers. I'm still going to do videos for them. I'm just going to do more videos with a little less censorship, a little more free streaming consciousness, where I can say what I want, and not many people are going to watch. It might even be a few dozen, and that's good, because that doesn't threaten the paradigm and the power structure and the narrative, okay? Okay, that's it. God bless. Oh yeah, that LA, it's this whole world, man, the movies, the TV shows, the media, anything digital or online is jacked into this somehow too, in my opinion. Okay? It's Jesus. It's jacked into it, man. I don't know how, because the synchronicities happen way too much. I'm not saying the TV talks to me, anything like that, or the internet talks to me. But that OA preview for season 2, and all that kind of stuff, and Deadpool 2, it's limitless. It happens so much. And I would just say try to... There's a hive mind thing. I talked about this in a lot of videos that aren't going to be public, and I don't want to talk about that. It's for entertainment purposes only. But just remember to keep it simple. I did a video about the blue kachina, talking about getting back to the simple ways and the ways we used to be, you know. And oh, yikes! There's so much to talk about, and I'm doing the best I can. And anyway, I hope this video helps some of you, and just hang in there, okay? And yeah, that's it. Protracted ending. God bless.